Hi, and welcome to Timberdoodle's 4th grade curriculum kit. I'm Hope, I'm here with my sister Grace, and we're going to walk you through what's included in the 2026 curriculum kit this year.
All right, let's take a look at language arts. So first off, we have the Mosdos Press Literature, and that's the Ruby in this level. We love this literature program. It's full of stories and poetry and biographies and essays, has authors like Laura Ingalls Wilder, and it's all age appropriate, faith neutral, so it's appropriate for charter schools and for families that are operating out of a faith-based curriculum kit because it's rooted in courage and loyalty and compassion. But what we love is the quality of the instruction. So it's going to have different stories, different pieces of literature that it's going to be drawing the student's eye to real literary skills. So looking at tone, looking at plot, looking at symbolism, and then drawing that in with the story and drawing the student's eye back out to say, okay, how did the author develop this? And so they're really starting to understand these different concepts and then be able to use them in there.
While reading literature.
Yeah.
I also like that they include things like a word bank along the side so that if your child does not recognize a word, they've already thought of that and put in a word that they think that will trip them up. Here's the word, here's how to pronounce it, and here's its definition, here's what it means. I love that. It's automatically there on the reader page. I also like that it includes the teacher's manuals, which the layout's kind of interesting, but I like it. It's basically a copy of what your student is reading with the answers along the side. So you can easily look at where are you at, where are you having problems? Okay, here's the answer that they were looking for. Lots of vocabulary, reading comprehension, and everything included in the workbook.
Yes, excellent.
All right, next up we have the Language Smarts E. So this is a full year language arts workbook. It's got grammar, punctuation, reading, writing, spelling, vocabulary. It includes rhymes, riddles, games, mind benders, and even sequencing. So it's got the whole gamut included in this. What we like about this program in particular is that it does do a thorough job of covering all the language arts topics that your child will need to know for this year. It's designed for independent learners, but it doesn't just teach the facts, it teaches it through critical thinking and creativity. So appreciate that they're having that aspect throughout the grammar and the writing. No prep for you, open the workbook and go. They're going to do about 8 or 9 pages a week, which is like a double page spread every day. Easy to do.
Next up, we have Spelling You See. This is going to be the level E in this grade. If your student has not been using Spelling You See, you can hop on and do a placement test just to make sure it's the correct level for them. But this is a really wonderful spelling program. It's going to use nonfiction American history passages, so you're learning, you're reading something valuable, short daily lessons. They're going to highlight patterns. They're going to do copywork and dictation. There's no tests, no word lists, but they're building this visual memory naturally by underlining, circling, and finding different parts of the words. It's perfect for kids where spelling still feels shaky. It's not going to overwhelm them, and it's got the real words in real context, so that way spelling starts to come naturally for them.
Next, we have Cursive Logic, U.S. Presidents and Citizens. So if you have done Cursive Logic, if your child's done Cursive Logic last year, this is continuing the skill practice this year.
If you build that fluency.
Yes, if they did not do it, you can go ahead and customize your kit and swap it out for Cursive Logic. What I love about this is that your child is going to be practicing their cursive skills with writing out 2 quotes from a remarkable person from each of the 50 states. So you've got a little bit of history there, you've got something worthwhile writing, and just very interesting look into what they have written down while practicing your cursive skills. Love that.
Okay, let's take a look at math. So Math You See Delta is working on division for this year. If your student has not been using Math You See all along, pop on, do a placement test, just make sure this is correct. This is really going to be mastering division, so single digit through multi-digit, including remainders. It's also going to cover Roman numerals, angles, shapes, area, volume, and money as well. Each lesson starts with a short lesson by a video lesson by Steve Demme, and this is really what shines about this curriculum in my mind, because I don't like having to get out a heavy teacher's manual and figure out the lesson and figure out how I'm going to present it and explain it. And I don't know about you, but whenever I try to explain math, it comes out as a jumbled mess, and I'm like, I don't know if they're ever going to understand. And Steve Demme takes all that pressure off. So they're going to watch the video, then you're going to get out the wonderful manipulatives and the workbook pages, and it's going to click. They're not just going to have rote memorized facts. They're going to actually see it and feel it and be able to really understand. It's mastery based. They're going to move on when they truly get it. and you're only going to have to do usually about 3 worksheets a week. If you have a student who needs a little bit more review, again, I love that that's already built in for you. There's extra worksheets included so that way they can get as much as they need. But if you have a student that, okay, they can see it, they can feel it, they understand, it's all going well, then just trim it down to those 3 a week and you can keep on advancing.
So now we're going to learn how to divide by 6. So how do we verbalize this? What times 6 equals 24, or 6 times what equals 24? What's the answer? 4. 24 divided by 6 is? 4. 24 divided by 6 is 4. How could we rewrite this using the commutative property? Instead of putting the, what number should go here if we're going to swap?
Next up, we have the Before Personal Finance. Now, this is a family favorite.
Absolutely.
This is a 10-lesson financial literacy course, and it has just been so fun to go through with the kids and with the cousins to see you have all kinds of mentalities between all the kids that money in the pocket's burning a hole, they got to spend it, versus the savers. And this is going to basically walk your child from the years 13 through 22 through typical expenses, what they would like to spend money on. So if they have a birthday party, what would they buy? What would they not buy? Here's how much money they have to work with. Would they buy the cake for the party and pizza? Would they hire in entertainment? Or would they say, no, I'm not doing that bounce house. I'm only sticking with cake only. Where are they going to spend their money and how? Money does carry forward to the next age group. So they're motivated to say, well, if I spend it all when I'm 13, I'll have nothing when I'm 14 or 15. So they can see that kind of progression. Also, it has the fun QR code in it that will bring you to a wheel that spins the wheel and something happens. So they never know when they're going to get, kind of like Monopoly, a bonus of, hey, you got $100, or man, something went bad and now you've lost $500. So real life kind of scenarios. Yes. Done through this very approachable textbook that you can just sit down, work with your child, and help them think through money and how it will impact their choices, how their choices today will impact tomorrow, whether they should be spending, should be saving, how much, and all of that.
And if you can, we highly recommend doing this with multiple students at the same time, just because it is so much fun to watch them kind of spur each other on of, oh, you have an opportunity for a vacation, and watching the different kids as I'm definitely going on a cruise, but then I only have this much money left, and the other kids are going, I'm not going anywhere. And it spurs them on and helps them all to really be thinking these different things through. So a really fun project to do together.
And it's something that you can use for a little bit of a range of kids, yep. 8 to 11, 12, somewhere around in there, all very applicable.
Okay, next let's take a look at thinking skills. And this year you have thinking skills for tests. And while that sounds like such a single focus workbook, I just want to encourage you to say it's not. It is a phenomenal program that's going to teach your student how to think. It's going to work on patterns and sequences and comparisons. It's working on logic, but it's really going to help them to look at the questions that they're being asked and help them to say, okay, well, what info do I have? And really sort through all these different ways of thinking and being very logical in their thought process, step by step, so that they know how to think. It teaches them to work through a problem they've never seen before, read it closely, notice the details, check each possibility, and really come up with, okay, well, you don't know what this word means, but here's all the things that we do know. Let's cross off the things that are obviously the wrong answer, and let's work through until we've deduced what the best answer will probably be.
And that's where you're going to see the payout. When you see their thinking change from, I know the problem, or I don't know the problem, to this is the way I'm going to approach how to figure out the problem, then their thinking methodology has changed and they've learned how to think.
So it's not just for tests, but even for tests, this is a huge life skill that's going to benefit them for years.
Next up, we have Titanic. This is a Timberdoodle exclusive that I love. You're going to be navigating the lifeboats through the waves and rescuing passengers, but it's kind of like that game of trying to get the goat across the river and how can you do it without everything getting cattywampus. It's the same thing with these lifeboats. They've got to rescue the passengers, but they can only jump on when they're right next to the seat, and once the lifeboat's full, it doesn't move. So you've got to have that executive functioning, that forward thinking to say, how am I going to move this boat so it doesn't block my other boats? And it's going to build logic, planning, spatial reasoning, and decision making.
And you might say, well, isn't that a little bit morbid to be making a game out of Titanic? But it brings to life the real thinking skills, the real decision making that needs to happen in these kinds of emergencies. And it's training that already, because the boat cannot sail past someone without picking them up. So we love that you are building in this urgency of you need to rescue everyone, and how are you going to do it?
Okay, for the multiplayer game this year, we have a 2-player strategy game, Abalone. So the goal is to slide your glass marbles to push your opponent's marbles off the board. Players take turns moving 1, 2, or 3 connected marbles at a time in any direction. They can push their opponent's marble off if they have the numerical advantage. So if they have 2 to their 1 or 3 to 2, and can push it in a straight line. The first team member to push 6 of the opponent's marbles off the board wins. Sounds super simple, super fun and satisfying to play. The clicking of the marbles, the weight of them is really addictive, and getting to push your opponent off the board adds to the fun.
Can't beat that. Okay, so why did we choose this one? Well, it builds spatial reasoning, forward planning, and adaptability. You need to have that flexible thinking because you didn't know they were going to move like that. So you have to think several moves ahead without really realizing that you're learning. Okay, next we have Prime Suspect Ski Resort. So this is one of my favorites because it has so much skill development in a simple but also really fun logic puzzle game. So it's new for us this year. There are 45 cases with quirky ski resort suspects, and you're trying to figure out who is the prime suspect. They gradually get harder and harder as you go. This is a really fun one to get multiple sets of, so that way you can compete against each other. So highly recommend doing that. It's also really awesome for working on auditory processing skills. So if you have a student who struggles with auditory processing, then instead of handing them the clues to look at and sort out on their own as an independent player game, hold back the clues and read them to them, because now they're working on auditory processing. They've got to listen to what you say and figure it out. And they've got to remember that clue so that when they get their next clue, they don't undo what they just did by shuffling the characters around and try to find out who is that prime suspect.
So as the clues are read, you're going to be placing a tile. So the suspect has green hat and is below someone with blonde hair. So you're going to, okay, then that must be under these two, but they also are to the right of somebody with a mustache. Well, that means I got to come up here. Yep. And so again, figuring out, logically deducing where the options are, keeping that play in mind, that flexibility in mind, until you've narrowed it down to, okay, this must be the prime suspect.
Okay, let's take a look at history. So for this grade, you've got Story of the World Volume 4, which is the modern age. It's the grand finale of the series. It's 1850 to 1994. So a lot of revolutions, world wars, civil rights, and space race. And it's story-driven and engaging. So it's going to read more like an adventure, not like a textbook. We really appreciate that aspect. Yes. The kids want to be a part of history. They want to hear it. And we also include the audiobook. So if for your family, it works best to listen on the go and make this be a part of a road trip or whatever you have planned, or a weekly appointment that you've got going on. You can fit history in that way, or you can also have your student do it as an independent reader if they're a strong reader, or you can read it to them. So a lot of different ways to implement it. And then of course the activity book gives you ways to really draw them in. So you've got flexible across multiple ages, different activities that you can be doing, whether it's a hands-on crystal palace model that they're making, or something to do with armor, or whether they're doing some sort of a mapping skill. Again, lots of different ways to reinforce what they're learning and to build on that. It also has some reading suggestions if you want to go deeper on the time periods that you're studying.
Next, you have the 24-hour history graphic novels. So what this is 5 dramatic events told minute by minute in graphic novel format. So these are events such as Apollo 11 or Pearl Harbor or D-Day, etc. Each chapter is going to include biographies, timelines, maps, diagrams, and a glossary. So it gives you not only the story and the minute by minute, but it adds some extra information so that you can round out a little bit more at the end. The full color and high action makes it engaging for the kids as they read this. It helps them visualize history and how it happened, and visualize the impact it had on those around them. Kids feel the urgency because it's the time frame of at 6:02 and at 6:05 this happened, so they can get the impending doom. It pairs perfectly with Story of the World when you hit those topics if you want to flesh it out with the graphic novel, or you can just let them read it on the side, and they'll have a great time doing that too. Also included is the True Stories of War graphic novels. So these are 3 graphic novels covering the Civil War, World War I, and World War II. They are real stories told through diary entries, letters, and vivid illustrations. So they've included timelines, maps, and war summaries with each book, so your child will be able to see history represented in this graphic novel format. Again, you can hand it to your child to read on their own, or you can pair it with the chapters that it is paired along with in the story of the world. Either way, your child will benefit from being able to see history and hear these real stories. And also for your child who struggles to read, this can help with their reading fluency, but even for your child who has a strength in reading, this will help them be able to envision it, empathize with it, and make history come alive for them.
Okay, next we have geography. So we've got Skill Sharpeners Geography in this grade, and this is basically going to take them across a number of different themed units. You've got Earth from Space, Early Explorers, National Parks, etc. It's going to be short, nonfiction passages that they're going to work their way through, working on map skills and vocabulary. Again, really helping them to reinforce all these geography topics that are often neglected. Geography is one of the most neglected subjects for homeschoolers, and this makes it attainable.
Also included is the flags of the world. So this is an oversized world map with nearly 200 flag stickers. Now, if your child chooses to participate in our reading challenge or just reading on their own, every time they read a book from a new country, they're able to place the flag on the associated country. The numbered code helps find even the trickiest countries, and capital cities are labeled so that it doubles as a reference tool for you. It's going to connect their reading to geography and culture and create this visual memory of what they've read about throughout the year.
Okay, next we have science. So in this grade, you've got Real Science for Kids level 4, and this is going to be 22 chapters across all 5 disciplines. So you've got chemistry, you've got biology, physics, geology, and astronomy. What I really appreciate about this is that it is an intensive, thorough approach to teaching science, but in a very reasonable way. It's got online a digital textbook, so if you've got a struggling reader and you don't have time to sit there and read the textbook to them, they can go on and page by page have it read to them. Now, I love that it's page by page because one of the shining spots of this curriculum is that it has really great illustrations. And so you don't want to lose that by switching to an audio format. And by doing it with a digital textbook, it's being read to them while they're still looking at those different illustrations so that they can understand the concepts, because they really do help to explore those deeper concepts by their vivid illustrations. Also, it does not require labs, which to me is a huge win because I am not currently at a point where adding in labs is something I really want to do. I like to be able to keep things more streamlined. I don't like it to be too messy, but I also know for some students that is their favorite part of science. And so we want to enable you to pick the plan that's best for your student and for your lifestyle. And this book does that very well because it's got the intensive script. It's going to teach them what they need to know, but it also lets you go online, print out the labs, print out the student pages so you can take it as deep as you want, or you can just have them work through the textbook. Either way, whatever works best for your student.
We also have the Dr. Bonyfide Bones Book 2. So in this book, they're going to be covering the foot, femur, and pelvis. This is a comic, rhyme, puzzle, quiz, all wrapped into one book. Also includes X-ray vision glasses for hidden images in the pictures, which just adds to the fun for kids. This can be a component to your health program for the year if your state requires the health component. Also, real anatomy that kids want to learn in this format. It's fun, they want to do it, it helps them understand their body more, and meanwhile, it's science-backed. So this is genuinely educational, not just entertaining. Let's talk about STEM. So in STEM, we have iBricks. So what is this? Well, this is a Lego compatible building kit with a 12-month digital subscription for weekly engineering missions. Now this is great. Your child's going to build cars, animals, machines, all kinds of creations with step-by-step directions and then challenges. So you've got the videos, you've got the step-by-step instructions on digital book, then you've got the video of why did this work? And then you've also got challenges of how could you make this differently, or how could you solve this in another way? So you've got the weekly mission, problem solving, critical thinking. It's a great way for your child to develop those critical thinking skills in their building with, and again, I appreciate a fresh idea every week. So you're not building the same thing, you're thinking outside the box, motorized, which adds to the fun, And my boys have gone through it, just love it, love every week of, ooh, look what we get to build this week. Hey, Mom, come check it out. Come see what we did. And I have been surprised at how they have become fluent at saying, this isn't working so well. I'm just going to make this quick adjustment here, and on the fly making the changes to make the contraption work better. So valuable skill.
And it's kind of rare to find a STEM set that includes both the convergent and divergent thinking. And this does that very well while including solid instruction every week. All right, let's take a look at art. So this year we've got the Sea Turtle Soapstone Carving Kit. Real soapstone. It's really fun for kids to be able to actually come away with this beautiful sea turtle that they carved themselves. Tools sized for beginners. It's going to walk you through how to shape it, how to smooth it, adding water to help bring out the color and polish. It's a really excellent set for them to work their way through, and then they end with this giftable or treasured turtle that they're going to want to display. We also have the Beginner's Quilling Kit. Now, this is one that I am absolutely excited to be adding because not only is it going to be teaching them a skill that they probably have never learned before, they're going to roll the paper into thin strips, they're going to shape them. It's got a guide, so it teaches you how to do different shapes out of these quilled coils. But it's giving them a skill that they can then take and make cards and sell them. So I don't know if you've seen these, but there's a lot of different quilled cards that are for sale. You can make absolutely stunning pieces of art through this technique. And so it gives your kids not only something that they can create and give away and gift, but it also gives them, for kids who are looking for ways to earn money, they now have a marketable skill. They can make birthday cards, they can make Mother's Day cards and offer them for sale if that's something that they're looking to do. And even if not, it gives them a good skill that can be used therapeutically just in their own creativity, something that they can step back and have an enjoyable time creating a beautiful scene.
And I'll say during the preview process, both for the adult trying it out and for the kid trying it out, it was a win.
Yes.
Both walked away saying that is really cool.
And it comes with these really beautiful little jewels, so you can add a little bit of sparkle to the card as well. So really appealing set that everyone wants to jump in and work on.
All right, next we have Write and Draw Your Own Comics. So this is an activity book that gives you the step-by-step guide to creating comics. It'll teach your children all the different aspects of making a comic, developing the character, what kind of dialogue to use, how to show action in the scenes, how to show emotion, all different looks at the different aspects of creating comics, which will be a tool that they can use for storytelling, as they want to relay history, science, family adventures, anything. This is a valuable skill. They don't realize that they are learning creativity, but it's taking their ideas and turning them into visual stories.
Next, we have I Got a Story for You? So this is an art history video course. In this grade, we've got the Impressionist version. You've got 12 different video lessons that are 20 to 30 minutes long. And what we love about it is you feel like you are on a museum tour with Mrs. Beth as she takes you through these different artists and their creations and explains the time period and what it was, what their goal was, why the art piece was commissioned, and so on.
What is about the artist that makes it unique? So do you notice this pattern in this painting?
Yep.
Do you notice how all these paintings from this time period showed the same pattern or whatever?
Or a new technique that was just emerging at that time. So you're learning a lot of history. You're learning a ton of art appreciation, things that you just have no idea until you watch and learn, and you're like, wow, I cannot believe the skill that I'm seeing. And then it has some recommended art activities and discussion questions, so that way you can take it deeper and actually put into practice some of the things that you've just seen. We love doing this one as a group because it's a really fun co-op or cousin time kind of a project to sit down, watch the video, and then do an art project. Or you can split it up, so you're doing, if you're just doing it with your family, watch the video one week, work on an art project the next week, and then maybe do a take it further activity the next week. It's flexible, there's no wrong way to use it, and a lot of fun for everyone.
The last time we got together, we discussed how Edgar Degas had come from a rather wealthy family. His dad was a banker, And his parents believed in a good education, so Edgar went to school and he learned math and literature and history, but they also believed in an education in art and music. We found out that Edgar was a very good artist, and his dad didn't mind so much as long as it didn't get in the way of studying to become a lawyer. You can imagine that his dad wasn't very happy when Edgar decided that he wanted to be an artist instead of a lawyer. Edgar decided to enroll into the École des Beaux-Arts. There he studied very, very hard, and he tried to paint paintings that the salon would like. He especially liked to paint portraits. After about a year of study, he decided it was time for a vacation, and so he headed down to the country of Italy where his aunt and uncle and his cousins lived, and while he was down there, he offered to paint their portrait. We looked at it last time. It's called the Bellelli family. If you remember, the family wasn't very happy. They had gone through some hard and difficult times, actually some sad times. Dust is billowing out underneath their hooves, and in fact, these horses rarely walked in a straight line. They were race horses. They had a lot of energy and excitement, and so the jockeys had a hard time even holding them under control to get them to the starting line. Degas wished he had one of those new inventions called the camera. He wanted to stop the action and have an instant picture of all that movement. Well, because he didn't have a camera, what did he do? He began to sketch. Here's a couple sketches that he did. Here's one, just a very quick sketch with a piece of blue charcoal. You can see here what I was talking about. The jockey is doing all that he can to hold that horse under control.
Let's look at Sketching Made Easy. So this is an online program with 30 different lessons. It's going to give your students the concepts of how to draw rather than focusing in on particular items. It's going to focus on the concept. So I really appreciate that. Again, it's building these foundational skills so that students can go on to, whether it's drawing or painting or some sort of design that they want to do, this is going to give them those foundational skills so that they can do that. And when you think about it, sketching is a very practical skill, whether you're trying to teach a child a social story and you want to quick sketch something out for them so that way they can follow along, or whether you're a graphic designer, no matter what, it's always a practical skill to have, and this is going to work through the different concepts to get you there. So 5 different visual elements of art. It's going to teach line and shape. It's going to teach form, texture, color, and pattern. Short, clear videos paired with printable worksheets. So really appreciate the practical and the simplicity of get in, watch the video, do your worksheet, and learn the skill.
Yeah, takes you beyond the stick figures level that I'm at.
Yes.
In this quick video, I'm going to show you exactly how to draw a better cube. Another square interlocking. Keep them the same. Could be done even at this step. And erase these lines. So I'll do that. Hey everyone, welcome to another lecture. In this one I'm going to be showing you some things about interior contour line across the whole palm of the hand. So if you look at your own hand.
All right, let's look at test prep. So why do we include test prep? Well, it's for those of you who have state-required testing like us in Washington State, this will prepare your child for how to take a test, what the test-taking process looks like, how to do multiple choice questions, test taking anxiety, all of that gives them that practice. For those of you that don't have the state required test, we still believe this is valuable because it gives you as the teacher a look at the end of year summary for how are they doing, how is this translating into the test taking process. It still gives your child the test taking practice because inevitably they're going to run into tests in the future. So it's a great practice, but it kind of gives you that confidence of, yeah, look how they're testing out. Things are going well, or looks like we forgot to work on this, or I didn't realize I didn't understand it. Let's go back and pick that up. So just a great way to summarize the year.
Next, we have the Faber-Castell grip colored pencils. So we include these mostly so that you've got an excellent quality set of colored pencils at your fingertips. When you go to do spelling, you don't want to have to go digging for that particular color that they are instructed to underline or circle the word with. So now it's right at your fingertips, but this has been one of our favorite brands for pencils because it glides and it doesn't have that gritty resistance that a lesser cost pencil might have. So an excellent quality, all in a nice grip pencil that is also triangular shaped, so you don't have to worry about it rolling off the table, stays put where you put it. A lot of great features and excellent quality.
Lastly, we include the curriculum handbook. So we include this in every grade to kind of give you an overview for what's included in your kit, maybe why we included it or what we anticipate, how we anticipate that you will schedule it. And then it includes access to your online scheduler. This is where you will go to figure out what are you going to accomplish when, how many of everything to do a week or a month. It'll work it all out for you. You can also customize it. So if you've customized up or down on math or language arts, you can make those adjustments in the scheduler, or if you want to add in extracurricular activities. So I want to make sure they are responsible for the family meal once a week, put that on the list. So your scheduler will then enable you to either print out a weekly list or a daily list. And again, what works best for your family, you can make that decision, or maybe you want to print both so you can kind of have an overview and then the day-to-day of, yep, this is everything we've got to do today. And the goal is that this helps your child to become working towards becoming an independent learner. By this time, they should be, for the most part, reading independently. They should be able to work through most of the curriculum independently, except for those things that you kind of want to do with them, which I still have, so I understand that. But they can be starting to check things off and say, yep, I accomplished my math for the week, I accomplished language arts, I did Mosdos, all of that, checking it off, learning how to do that executive functioning to say, I need to complete all this this week and go at it. Also included is the reading challenge we referenced earlier.
Yes, so that way you can keep your kids reading a wide variety of different genres, lots of different subjects, and gives you a list of different books that are recommended for this age group so that you don't have to rely only on your tried and true standbys, but then you run out of great options. And so this is going to give you an endless resource of books that you can look for at your library, look for in thrift stores, and also select a challenge so that you can work with your student to be writing down each time you finish a book. Here's our goal for the year. Let's see if we can meet. And there's 3 different levels. So you can pick, you know, are you going to be the avid reader this year? Or what are you going to pick? And then go for it and try to fill those all in.
I think that covers it for this year. Again, if you have questions, if you need help customizing, want more information about a product, go onto our website. You can chat us, you can email us, you can give us a phone call. We are here to help you figure it out. And we appreciate you watching this video and hope you have a great year.